I don't think it went to. I didn't change the. Okay, let's see.
Mic one on PC. Mic one on PC.
What?
Mic one on PC.
Yeah. Good morning and welcome. Oh, just a sec here. Let's see. Let me see. Good morning, Natriece.
Good morning. How are you, Shane? How's it going?
It's going phenomenal. Just a second here. Let me get to the right window. There we go. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Positive Vibes, making positivity and gratitude louder in a podcast world. And this morning, as my guest, I have Natriece Spicer. We were connected a few weeks ago when I made the call, replied to, made a comment on one of Gary V's posts, community posts about, adding value to the community. And I was saying I need a guest, and Natriece was kind enough to say, hey, I'll be a guest on your show. And I haven't really done as much research as I'd like to have, but I did see that you are a life coach, and I was, looking at a bit of that, and you're just full of the positive energy that my show needs here. So, yeah. Good morning.
Well, good morning. I am happy to be on the show. Thank you for having me on Positive Vibes. And yeah, I'm the neighborhood hug dealer. So this is what I do. Like, you got the right girl. I'm the connect. I put people in touch with their greatness and more vibes of love and positivity. So we are right in the same vein. And so I'm glad to be here just to continue to spread that type of energy and have conversations about how we can live that out in real time. Because I think, in all honesty, that's really what people want, is like the how to, right? It's all fine and fancy, but how do I really live this cute little thing that you guys are labeling wellness or sanity or something like it?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, Shane, what goes on here at Positive Vibes? How do y'all flow? Tell me the flow of the show and like, what's up?
It's just really, it's just me bringing positivity and gratitude to the world on my show here. Just, bringing on positive people and having, interviewing my guests about their own personal brand of positivity and, how you're bringing it to the world.
Well, I definitely am excited to talk about that because I think that this being the year of so many good changes, there's not a better time than to talk about what drives my passion and kind of floats my boat, which is women's empowerment. Is a big focus for me. Women and youth empowerment and helping them to be confident enough to tell their stories and monetize their histories. And I think that this is the perfect time to be having those conversations and to tie in how that connects the dots to like, when you think about community wellness, when you think about household wellness, when you think about the wellness for men, right? Happy wife, happy life. And even men who don't choose to have wives still have women in some sort of part of their circumference that they have to deal with. And so we just know the world is a better place when women are well off. When we're on track, things are just better all around. And so I do think that women's wellness and empowerment is an important thing all the time, but especially right now when we look at just the trajectory of the world, politics, society, and culture, like all of those things need that nurturing touch that I think the new Madam Vice President is bringing, that I think a lot of the officiants in different like schools and small businesses and like micro entrepreneurism and life coaching and wellness and like seeing some of these traditionally like feminine attributes being able to like not have a gender anymore, right? Like removing some of the gender from some of these things that previously have been considered girly or feminine, and being able to be like, you know, guys need to be sane too. Guys have emotions too. You know, we need to address this. And so I think women are just very much at the forefront of that. And I think we have a lot of power and responsibility to help steer the boat, to drive the boat for a little bit. Y'all been taking shots. And so now we got a cleanup woman. We need to come in and really just be bold in our power to just be life and be wellness and help goodness, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Right on. Yeah, it's actually I was one of my this lady I follow on Instagram. Her handle is Confidence in Curves, and she just, you know, real positive and, you know, so trying to, you know, maybe help boost other ladies' self-confidence and other people's self-confidence by showing her own and, you know, her own self-confidence. And she put a post up this morning saying something about, you know, don't don't worry about, you know, something about weight gain. Don't worry about weight gain or every little bit of weight gain or something to that effect. And I'm like, you know, look at it in a positive light. That every little bit of weight gain just makes you that much more of a goddess. And you know, just look at it in a positive light. You know.
Yep. And it's true. And look how that perspective came from somewhere that previously, I mean, prior to social media and maybe even prior to the pandemic, even with social media, you may or may not have tapped in, but I know from a generalized perspective, we are connecting the dots much more through these avenues than we would before. Men wouldn't seek, you know, the professional input or the expertise of maybe a female life coach or something like that. And now those things are just changing. Those barriers and those mindsets are changing. And I think it's a really great thing. I know personally on my podcast, the Inspired Life podcast, we talk a lot about ideologies, lifestyle methods, and tools and tips to actual play out in actual real time. We give actionable steps and advice, and it's all gender neutral, even though from a trade perspective and a business angle, I would be considered a woman's life coach because that's who speaks back to me. That's who buys the books or whatever. But as far as who's tuning in and who's learning and who can be edified from what I'm putting out, I hear the guys speaking just as much as I hear the women saying, you know, I need to know how to combat my comfort zones. I needed to hear that I have to be able to look inward before I act outward. I needed to know that the way that I'm reflective really impacts the way that I am when I'm being active. I needed to hear that I need to be proactive and stop being a procrastinator, right? Yeah. And so I think a lot of these principles we have let divide us as a society, as a culture, as genders, and all these titles we place on things. But at the end of the day, people want to be well. People want to feel good. People want to be made whole, and they want to have a sense of existence that goes beyond just being and has some fulfillment of life. Whatever they define it as, they want to be able to do that thing before they leave. And I don't think that has a gender, a budget, a color. Like, that's here, right? And so that's what I'm excited to see us get more towards. You know, you having this platform just shows that not only is there more desire to do the work, but clearly you have an audience, right? So people need it. They need the vibe, right? So
yeah, exactly. Well, it's like you know, like I said in my book, my autobiography I wrote as a you know, sort of as a result of my hearing Brendan Burchard. You know who Brendan Burchard is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was a few years ago. I was watching. I was down in the depths of my depression, and I was watching one of his videos on. Well, actually, I had watched one of his short little promo video, and I had ordered his book, Motivation Manifesto, and that really got me fired up a bit. And so I started following all his content online, and I saw this video on about his experts academy, and he was saying, you know, hey, we're all an expert in one thing or another, and you know, we should, you know, if anything, you can write a book about that. And I'm like, whoa, dude, I can write a book about my life. I'm an expert about, you know, brain injury. I'm an expert about multiple sclerosis. I'm an expert about alcoholism and drug addiction. I'm an expert in all these things that I have personal experience in, as so far as my experience goes. And so I decided to write my life story. And, you know, also in there was a drive to do that because I've been told I have an inspirational story. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I can help some people with inspiration and motivation. And so, you know, it's like I started with that platform and following Gary, you know, then I got into following Gary Vaynerchuk, and met him.
Who I love. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, met him when he spoke in Portland, Oregon, and he flew me to New York, and I just, you know, been following him and all these other people on social media and learning about all these different platforms. And this morning I was talking with the station manager this morning, and I was between last night and this morning with content that I made at the ocean yesterday and driving into town this morning. You know, I was just making content left and right, popping it up in stories and on reels and, you know, on Facebook stories and, you know, posts on both platforms, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and, you know, planning out content creation for other platforms. But yeah, it's like, you know, once you get on a platform, it's like, and you start gaining an audience, then you're helping more people. And it's
right.
That much better.
Exactly. And I think that ultimately, like, that's what we're here to do, is just to show up, to have the platform, create the space, drive the conversation, and then allow people to get what they need, right? And to have a place to share, right? So like, even this is super important because it's an equal exchange. It's you showing up, but also providing space for people like me, who want to do the work and who don't always have outlets, or who may have outlets but are just driven to be expansive. And so I just think that what you're doing is really commendable, but also just a sign of what's necessary.
Yeah,
like, this is just where we are.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely necessary. It's like I wish that I could have been doing this a long time ago, or would have been doing this a long time ago. But you know, it's like, hey, it happened when it happened, and I wish, you know, that I would have had something. You know, I would have had these. I'm sure you'd be with me on this one, but I wish I would have had these platforms to, you know, view and listen to when I needed them back in the day, you know. But it's like, it wasn't around back then. Now it is, and so I can help by, you know, being on the platform and bringing forth the positivity and gratitude.
Right. But that's why we do the work, though. And as much as I look back sometimes and I go, oh, man, it's been a hard road. Man, these lessons have been hard. Man, this has been a journey. You know, I came from the trenches. And I look at the trajectory of my life, and I look at the people that I've come across along the way, and I wouldn't have met those people. I wouldn't have learned those lessons. I wouldn't be who I am. And I probably, you know, I could be impactful. I could be doing the same thing. I could be at a different, maybe even broader, or what some would say more successful level, because people judge things by, I don't know, fans and numbers and what have you. But I feel like I'm right on target. And I feel like I'm not the only one. I think life gives you what you need when you need it, and it puts you where you're supposed to be. And for some people, that will be, you know, a collegiate, straight, narrow road that leads you to, I don't know, management, PR situations that get you this broad-based international platform, right? And you're world renowned. And for other people like me, it's gonna look like heartache, bricks thrown at your face, suffering through low self-esteem and depression, early childhood abandonment issues, and growing up in underserved, impoverished, oppressed neighborhoods, and dealing with the stigmas of being a Black and a female person in a country that you're always feeling you have to fight. For some of us, it's going to look like that, right? And it's not going to be straight and narrow. It's going to have a lot of stories of, ooh, I did it, and this is juicy, and you know, this one sounds like a late night special, and this one might get me on the Tonight Show. It's not going to be a straight and narrow road. It's going to look like brain surgery and multiple sclerosis and having these terrible life instances over and over again that people keep saying, I couldn't have gone through that one thing. And then you're the person who's gone through all the things. And, you know, you're the guy who gets to do the work and the other guys get the reward. And you know, this is your version of Glory Road, right? But what if you never did any of that stuff? Could you say you care the way you care? You know, could you say you do what you do